Well guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another video. I am back over on Vancouver Island. Now we've still got a lot of that fall colour, so it'd be nice to have a drive around locations and areas to see how the fall colour is changing. Some of the leaves have already fallen off, but as I was coming in off the ferry, there's still plenty of that fall colour on the trees, so that's what we want to check out. Now I did get here around about midday. I normally take the first ferry, but Adam actually ran out of gas. He was in Port Renfrew running the workshop. He ran out of gas, so what he had to do was he had to actually camp out in his van for the night until the gas station opened. So we've met up, we've had a good catch up. We came to Adam's new house, so I get to see his new house, see how he's getting on with it. And I've just came down to the coastline to pass some time, introduce you guys to the video and see how this light changes. Got some lovely mountains behind us there to my right hand side. Now the plans that we've got, we're going to venture to some areas around Vancouver Island. We're going to see how that fall colour's changed, see if we can get some nice images. I was really pleased with the images that I captured last time. You remember we went to Mossman Grove, that huge branch. It's got to be one of the biggest tree branches in Canada, and to photograph it with all that amazing fall colour. If you haven't seen that video, I'll put a link in the corner of the screen there. Go check it out, take a look at it. What a great few days it was back over on Vancouver Island. So I'm going to hang about here for the time being. I'm going to see how that light changes. We've got some really dramatic skies this evening because it is a lot later in the day. We've had a lot of rainfall, but that's been a good thing because we've more or less been in a drought over the summer months. It's been really hot. I'm just going to hang around here to see how that light changes. If not, I'm going to go back to Adam's, and first thing in the morning I'm going to pack up and head out to our first location. So I hope you enjoy the rest of today's video.
Can fell off and it all squirted out the hole there.
So welcome back. It is the next day. Now it is a lot later in the day. We've travelled out from Parksville. It was raining back in Parksville, but as we've come closer towards Victoria, it's a lot drier, but you'll be able to see we've got no light. It is early afternoon now. But we're checking out some trail networks around this area where Adam hasn't been before, just before we lose that light. And we've came along this trail as we were heading back to the car. We've seen it on the way down the trail. We just took a quick look at it, and because there's not a lot in that location where we've just been, we decided to grab a shot of this as we were walking past. Some lovely moss on these rocks, on these big boulders. And you've got a nice network of trees. You'll be able to see they're all intertwined, and you can get some nice separation there. Now the only thing is the light's not great, but I think it still warrants a shot because of all the colour, the fall colour that you've got on the ground here. There's no clear areas, it's literally coated with leaves. So it's a nice foreground leading to these interesting trees in between these two boulders. You know, I talk a lot about separation, trying to simplify your image. Now if you go further to the left of the composition, you've got all this mess and all this chaos to the left hand side. So getting where I was positioned before, I'm able to hide a lot of that mess. Now I like the inclusion of the arbutus tree that you can see in the right corner there. It just fills in that blank space in the right corner, but because we haven't got a lot of movement in here, I want to include some of the foliage that you can see above my head, and I'm just trying to fill the image with interest, but at the same time get the separation between these trees. So I'm actually hiding trees behind these trees, and I think it's a nice shot. Even though we haven't got that light, we've got no a nice side light. It's a nice composition to take, and we can always come back tomorrow. But it's just nice to get a shot in the bag for today, because we have been battling with that rain, and we had a bit of a drive from Parksville. So we're going to see if we can capture anything else. Might not get another image today, but we came out later in the afternoon just as a recce for where we're going to go in the morning. We've got a few locations we're going to try out in the morning, but I'll see how this image works out, put it on the screen above, and I hope you like it. Well, good morning everybody, welcome back. We'll be pleased to hear that it's not raining this morning. Now, it was a bit unfortunate yesterday regarding the weather. You know, we made it up to a location finally, but all that happened was it eventually rained. Hope that image turned out. It did look nice on the back of the camera, but we just didn't have any light. Now, we're up against that today. It's not raining, but you probably able to see behind. Everything's pretty dark, pretty gloomy. It does look busy and chaotic, but as we've been walking into the forest, there's some beautiful colour here, so maybe we'll get some atmosphere like we got last night. We've got some, I don't know if it was low cloud or fog coming up off the river. So we're just going to explore this area where we're camping today. There's a lot of maple trees and lots of foliage on the ground, so there's plenty of colour there. The only thing we're going to be up against is some of the scenes might look particularly busy. So what I'm looking for is those thick mossy branches with colour in the background, you know, trees that are surrounded by those colours. But the bigger the trees the better, because they're going to be nice and dark and they'll stand out. Because if the trees are too spindly, you just can't make them out. It just all gets muddled up. It's a lovely peaceful morning, and I'm looking forward to exploring more of the trails on this area. Now this, you'll agree, is a lot more different to what we've seen before. We've made our way a bit further down the valley and we've managed to get on this stretch of river. Look at all that interest behind us. We've got these logs crisscrossing over this small river. It's flowing quite quick. It's just a beautiful scene. Got some really nice ambient light in here. Now we've been here for some time. We're just really taking the area in, trying not to rush, trying to slow down, because when you come to new areas you are tempted to rush from time to time. Now we have got some rainfall, so I'm going to try for a couple of shots here before it gets too heavy and maybe find some shelter. Now what I liked about this scene was these mossy boulders. You've got that fall colour that's ladened on the ground here, and you've got this interesting river just meandering down this part of the valley through the forest. And then you've got these lovely old trees that are falling crisscrossing. You've got one to my right hand side, leads up into the shot. You've got this one here, goes across, and then you've got about another 3 further up, and they just crisscross all the way up the river. So there's a lot of interest in the catching that light from the sky, so the tops and the surface of the mosses really stand out. Now the other thing I found, I've said many times before about using a polarizer when you've already got a vast amount of colour. It's really saturated in here. Now when you put the polarizer on, it's really saturated. So what I've decided to do is just use it very slightly so the colours don't get overly saturated. I'm getting around about 1/8 of a second. I like 1/8 of a second. It's good for the water. It's moving quite quick. We're going to capture that detail. We're not going to smooth it out too much. And luckily the foliage isn't moving too much. We have had a bald eagle flying up and down this river because there will be salmon in the river, so obviously it's hunting for food, and it's just perched in the tree above my head, and it looks amazing. It really does. It's sitting on a mossy branch with some of the fall colour behind. What an amazing sight. So that's basically going to be the shot. It's amazing that I've got this guy sitting above my head here. Now I am going to grab a picture of him before I leave. I'm not a nature photographer, but it just looks so nice. He's just sitting there quietly on the mossy branches with that colour behind. And I've got the 1:400 with us today, so it's going to be perfect for that shot. I'll be able to get right in close on the bald eagle. So I'm going to capture this shot, and I hope you like it. I'll see if I can grab a picture of this guy. We're going to head further up into the forest now, get a bit of shelter in case the rain gets any heavier. But hope you're enjoying this venture through this new part of the forest that we're trying on Vancouver Island. So we tried for a few shots down there, hopefully we were successful. Now it did start to rain, it rained quite a lot, so what we decided to do, we're actually heading up above where the water is, so we're a lot higher up, we're near the tree canopy now. Now the colours up here are fabulous, they really are, with the big leaf maples, got loads of yellow, got some of those big trees in between, and they're actually silhouetted against the bright leaves in the background. Because there's gaps in the sky, we're a lot higher up, those leaves are being slightly backlit, so they're really illuminated, and it just looks a beautiful mass of colour. So that's what I'm going to capture. So I've put the 100-400 for this shot. I'm going in at 100mm, and I just want to capture a segment of these trees with all that colour. You might be able to see there's a bit of atmosphere, so every now and again you get some atmosphere coming in, and it just mutes that background, and it gives it a lovely look to the image itself. I've selected 4 trees of interest. Now the reason I've selected the 4, 3 are identical more or less, but one's slightly leaning to the side, so it breaks the monotony of the straight trees up. it just adds interest there. Now all I've got to do is wait for some of that atmosphere to come in and capture an image. So I'm just simply going to be shooting this at f/16. I'm far enough away at 100mm that it's getting everything sharp. I'm going to get some of that atmosphere coming here. You can see behind us now it's starting to get a bit misty and it looks beautiful. And I love the fact that we've got those mossy branches in the right hand side of the image, some in the left hand side, and just all that colour in the background surrounding these trees. Simple image. I'm able to shoot up into the canopy. I'm not including sky because it's quite thick in that area. The trees are quite tall, so I'm managing to just capture the most interesting part of the canopy with those angled trees and all that colour. So I'm going to get back and get this shot, and I hope you like it, and we'll have a little bit more of an explore. It is getting a little bit later in the day now, so we'll just see if we can come across something else. But what a wonderful area it is to explore, and it's all new. Got up bright and early this morning. It was a bit frantic because there's quite a bit of blue sky around. Now because we're down by the river here, we're actually getting some early morning mist, some early morning fog, so it was a bit of a rush to get to a location where you could kind of work on a composition. So I've came to this area there, and it looks really nice. I was saying it's a race against the light this morning, so I haven't been able to do a lot to camera. Because when you get conditions like this, you've just got to react, get the camera out and quickly try and find a composition. So what I've been doing is I've been looking for defined trees, something that really stand out against that light. You get nice silhouette with those dark trunks of the trees, and looking to hide the light behind those trees, and then all you're left with is the rays of light coming out the edges. Because if you don't hide the sun behind trees or objects or big branches, it's going to just be simply overexposed. And the way you get those light rays is by hiding the sun, and you're just seeing them coming out the edges. So that's what I'm quickly looking for. So I'm going to get back to the camera and get some shots, and then we're going to move on to another area. I'm not sure where we're going today. We are just out for the day today. this amazing waterfall behind us. I'm at Niagara Falls. We've moved on from the first spot that we were at this morning because it was getting pretty bright and we lost that fog. It was a bit frantic this morning, you know, when you get light like that you've just got to drop everything and photograph the light, and that's what I've done. So the vlogging was a bit short because of that reason. But we've came to this amazing waterfall. Look at the size of that behind us. It's glorious. Now because this waterfall, because it's just a straight strip of water, as glorious it is, trying to incorporate everything like foreground interest, it's still just going to come across as a streak of water in the shot. Now for me, all the interest is above the waterfall. We've still got some of that fall colour coming in from the right and the left, and we've also got a lot of those mossy branches and they look really nice, and then with the backdrop of that water just flashing by, I think it makes for a nice composition. So don't be always tempted to try and photograph everything. Photograph what interests you, and the interest for me is at the top of the waterfall itself. I'm going to be taking this with the 1:400 at 100mm at f/16. Now I'm getting 1/10 of a second. We've got a lot of movement in those leaves, so I want to stop those leaves. There's no need to focus stack. I'm managing to get everything sharp focus at f/16. But I've really got to be aware of the foliage with the backdraft off the water. Now because the water's running so fast, I'm still getting that lovely texture in the water. It's not going to be creamy and it's still going to have some of that detail. So I'm going to get back to the camera, try this shot, and I hope you like it. But it's absolutely amazing. More quiet location now to where I was at previous. I was said earlier, it's getting a lot later in the day now. The sun's beginning to set, so I've just stopped off here. We're going to have a cup of coffee and chill out for a bit, and then I'm going to head back for the ferry. So that's why I'm a bit short on time today. Now I would like to have got to more locations today and got more shots, but in the winter time, you know, you've got those dark mornings and you've got those early evenings as well. So sometimes you're a bit rushed for time, but it's been an absolute brilliant day. We've got that glorious light this morning. Looking forward to seeing how those images turned out. So I'm going to call it an end to the day. So if you've enjoyed today's video, don't forget it's free. Give it a thumbs up. Let us know in the comments below what you thought of the video along with the images, and I'll see you again soon. So thanks for watching. Bye bye.